there anywhere better in the world to spend Christmas than in Disneyworld?
Well, surely not, you might be thinking, as Disneyland and Disney World are some of the best places in the whole wide universe, and even better at Christmas time.
Well, here are some stories that just might change your mind. Ah!
The Christmas Fantasy Parade has been running since November 1995, with many of the floats remaining unchanged since then. As a result of this, some of these old floats were becoming more and more unsafe, and it was only a matter of time before something bad happened, probably with disastrous consequences. And that's exactly what happened. But it wasn't just any float, it was the most important float of the parade, the one carrying Santa Claus himself. Whilst the parade was travelling down Main Street, USA, giving what everyone believed would be an uneventful performance, Santa was sat in his sled waving to onlookers. Then the sled collapsed, tipping downwards at a sharp angle and throwing Santa from the sled. Luckily, Santa was attached via a safety harness, so was left dangling as his bag of toys hung down over his face. After a short time, Santa was rescued and walked away unassisted, sustaining no injuries from the incident. The parade would then resume later in the day, but the broken sleigh didn't make an appearance. Instead, Santa was moved to a different parade float, whilst the other one was repaired. Many of the rides and attractions across the Disney parks get a festive makeover during the holiday season, and It's a Small World is no different. The animatronics are dressed in new costumes, decorations are hung throughout the ride, and most important to this story, the It's a Small World song the ride is most known for is replaced with Christmas carols. On the 27th of November, the ride broke down whilst a quadriplegic guest was riding one of the boats. The guest was close to the final moments of the ride in the goodbye room. As the boat reached this area, it stopped moving, and the guests were trapped for nearly 40 minutes before finally being evacuated. The quadriplegic guests complained that they suffered from a medical condition that had been aggravated by the blaring Christmas carols, which guests had been forced to endure the entire time they were trapped. The guests would then go on to sue Disney for evacuation procedures being inadequate for disabled guests, and for the lack of any warning prior to boarding that a quadriplegic guest would be unable to evacuate the ride easily in the event of the ride breaking down. A few months later, on March 26, 2013, the guest was awarded $8,000 by a jury, and Disney would go on to implement new safety precautions in the ride. Disneyland is one of the busiest places in the world, with thousands of guests from all over walking through its doors every single day. This also makes it the perfect breeding ground for the spread of disease. Guests visiting between the 17th and the 20th of December 2014 during the holiday period were all exposed to measles. Measles, for those of you who don't know, is a highly contagious disease spread by the measles virus. The symptoms present themselves after approximately 10 to 12 days and include a fever, runny nose, cough, inflammation of the eyes, and most notably, a red rash that covers the entire body. Measles lasts for a little over a week and can often result in other more deadly complications. With that many people exposed to a disease as contagious as measles and then travelling all across the world afterwards, it obviously ended in disaster and resulted in an outbreak across 8 US states as well as parts of Mexico and Canada. On top of this, as the disease takes nearly 2 weeks to even show any symptoms, it wasn't until after Christmas on January 5th, 2015 that the California Department of Public Health first even identified that there might be an issue. And by February the 11th, 2015, at least 39 individuals who had visited the Disney parks had become ill and then gone on to spread the disease to others, with more than 125 cases across the US being reported. Luckily, no deaths were reported as a result of the outbreak. So that was 3 stories involving Disneyland at Christmas that ended in disaster. So maybe think twice about booking that next Christmas vacation to the Magic Kingdom. I'll see you next time. Bye!